Let's take you on a quick fly through of the Freedom Paddle 28K Robben Island circumnavigation. So we'll be starting at Oceana Powerboat Club just offshore of the small little harbour there at the pin that says start, and you'll be aiming straight at Robben Island. So heading out, and if you're not sure where to go, there is a lighthouse that's right in the middle of Robben Island. You'll aim straight at that, but the real short line is to be aiming slightly to the right of the island. As you get about 3/4 of the way out to the island, you're going to come across a harbour buoy on your left hand side. It's a bit further left than what this mark indicates. You want to keep that to your left. It's around about the 7K mark. You'll also notice, if you look off to your left hand side, as you get closer to the island, you'll see, depending on the size of the surf, you'll see some pretty big waves thundering on a reef that's in the middle of the ocean. That's whale rock. We won't be getting anywhere near that. But if the surf is really big, the swell can break between whale rock and right through to the island as we fly through it here. And if you hang a little bit left, it gets a bit nervy, but you can actually get into some swells there and pick up some waves that'll pull you right around the bottom corner of the island here, right through and past the old jetty. So you can pick up some fantastic waves if you hug a little bit left of the line and actually slide right down the side of the island. If it's dead flat though, and we haven't got much swell, then it doesn't pay, and the better idea is just to go straight from Oceana straight through to the pin here at the old jetty. So between the old jetty and the modern harbour is characterized mainly by thick kelp beds. So it's fairly straightforward. You want to stick a little bit more to the right to avoid the kelp. And there's a lot of loose floating kelp here, so a little weed deflector to stop your rudder getting snarled up will be a really good idea. Watch out for the traffic that's coming in and out of the harbour. That is part of the course, and if you need to give way and respect the rights, and it is part of the course. So be careful with the traffic. From once you get past harbour entrance, we're getting to the far side of the island. Thick kelp beds once again. The straightest line is through the kelp bed, but that's going to be slow. So you maybe want to stick a little bit further to the right in the clear water. Now, as you go around this far side of the island, depending on what the weather's doing, you're going to be into the teeth of it. If it's northwester blowing, it's going to be blowing straight onto the beach here. And if there's some swell breaking, you're going to start feeling it now. This side of the island starts picking up some surf. So we're not quite halfway yet, but we're coming around halfway, and we're on the far side of the island, and it's time to start heading home. So the biggest characteristic here is the surf I'm speaking about between that halfway point and the pin that says big surf. Depending on the size of the swell, you really will have to go quite deep to get around it. It is tempting to cut the corner, and for those of you brave, will make a gain. But if you get this wrong and the surf is big, it is a hardcore coast. Just look at the wrecks that are dotted all along this coastline to get an idea of how vicious this can be. We don't want to add a surf ski to that. So consider staying a little bit wider, keeping yourself safe, and heading from the big surf pin there to the outer reef. There's hard surf breaking through all of this, combined with kelp beds, and the water is cold. So it definitely pays to perhaps be a little bit wider on this line. So once you go past the outer reef, you're going to draw a straight line between there and the slab. The slab is just that. It is a flat reef that's just below the surface of the water at that point, and on the deep water side of the slab, it is just that. It is deep water, so the swells give no warning, and they just suddenly jack up and explode on that reef. So you can get really, really close to it, and the racing line will take you close to it, but if you get it wrong, it is going to be catastrophic. Staying 30-40 meters out to sea of it's going to keep you safe, and definitely probably where you want to be. So don't risk that, especially if the swell is up a little bit. Once you've gone past the slab, we've now got to start navigating home. So the line is to aim at the saddle between Devil's Peak and Table Mountain, slightly towards Devil's Peak if you can. But there is a bit of an advantage to swing slightly to the right here, because the groundswell is coming from right to left as you look at this. And later on, you can maybe ride some of that groundswell into the finish where others are getting tired. But essentially now is when you really want to start putting the hurt on. It's the sprint home. Guys are going to be tired right now, and if it's settled weather, you want to be sitting in the formations and getting pulled along marathon style. But if there's a bit of a wave and a bit of a chop, maybe now's the time to go on your own path and just put the hammer down and see if you can hurt some folks. So from here, we're going to jump straight through the finish at Oceana, and I want you to notice that there is a turning buoy right on the stony beach in front of the waterfront. So this recording is going to end really quickly, but we're going to wrap around that stony beach and head straight into the Oceana harbour, and that is going to be the finish of the race. So look out for that. You're not finishing at Oceana. You've got to do a left to right turn around the buoy that'll be positioned off there, and the finish line is actually the tight entrance in through Oceana, a natural amphitheater for everybody to see what's going on. So that's the race. That's where the sprints are going to happen. So it's going to be exciting.